So we're 3 feeds. You can think of 3 feeds as basically a powerful, sophisticated Google Alerts that's built to redistribute. So where you might use Google Alerts to keep track of search terms that are happening for your own sake, you'd use 3 feeds to keep track of search terms, Twitter activity, blog activity, and whatever other social sources you like, in a way that you can easily redistribute to people around you, such as employees or friends or followers or whatever. So the redistribution allows us to solve a much larger problem, we would suggest, than your own problem of having to keep up to date with information. The information asymmetry that you see in many companies, where only a minority of people are fluent in the information sources that the majority of people would be able to, or would get value out of accessing. That's the problem that we want to address. Incidentally, it's very useful for individuals to keep track of information for themselves, and also in small groups, for me to keep track of information that I give to my girlfriend who doesn't understand Google Reader, or who can't access all these different information sources with the same sort of fluency that I'm like. So our solution to this problem is quite simple. Basically, we black box all the sources and functionality, bringing together the sources. We just allow users to type in keywords, and if they've got RSS feeds that they know are going to be a part of this information source, they can add those as well. They get aggregated into one central spot, and then that can be shared quite easily with email, another RSS feed that you can give to people, or a URL that you can, a permalink that you can plug into. So we might actually give you a really brief demo of how this is done and show you the good use case.
Yeah, hi, my name's Sam. Let's quickly give a demo. So, for example, we wanted to track all of the startups here. So, in the next couple of weeks, we want to know which startups are most active and what sort of things are being said in the press by those startups. So, for example, if we come to 3 feeds, enter the name of one of the companies, and as you see here, we've got a search. So this is the web. So what's being said on the web. Here we've got blogs, people talk about the blogosphere, and finally Twitter. What are people saying on Twitter about 3 feeds? And if I wanted to follow all of the companies at this startup this weekend, I would need to run multiple searches or have multiple RSS feeds. So the advantage here is I just do type in all the companies at once. I click on subscribe down here. This information is obviously then saved to our database, and then you've got a permanent RSS feed. So I can just follow a single RSS feed. And yeah, other things that we have is share. So obviously you can send it to friends on Facebook, so I can put it out on Twitter. Or finally, there's embed, which allows you to create a little widget. So for example, I can put that into my blog, or it could even be on the Silicon Beach blog as a way of tracking what's happening with startups in the future. So that's a very quick demo of 3 feeds. So just a very quick talk about the technologies. So obviously we need to source this information. So we source it from news feeds, Twitters, blogs, and other RSS. It comes with a 3 feed server, and then it's spat out in one of 3 forms. So we have the RSS, so whatever you use. You can have an email, so daily or weekly you send an email about what's changed, and finally the widget, so you can embed that in your blog or site. So I think some of the benefits are we have software as a service. It's web-based, so it's very easy to use. We tried to make not very many options, so that there's no difficulty for the user to create new feeds. And the other thing, just on the technology side, is the actual web page. Actually, it's all client side, so the feeds actually get downloaded directly by the client. Meaning that to view the website, there's no cost to us. So.
And also, one of the most important benefits is the corporate feed, corporate use.
Yeah.
In terms of the competitors, we identified a few here, along with their strengths and a lot of weaknesses. Now, what we plan to do are basically in 2 phases initially. to actually incorporate corporate payments and corporate usage, and further along the line, more enterprise usage of the product itself. For example, you might have people higher up in the corporate chain might be interested in knowing what's happening about the company and what they want to disseminate to their employees. Our team, plus 2 more, who have actually been ordered by the press today, just on briefly. And we're actually looking for funding for the 2 phases, which will actually take off by halfway through the year. And obviously you can see the strategy there, which there's a clear pattern of acquisitions being strong and active in the market. And we actually identified a niche that actually attacks we actually identified a product that actually attacks the niche in that market. So we believe there is opportunity for a strong acquisition. Yeah, so that's perfect.
Yeah, I'd like to kick off. Yeah, I think you did a good job again. Your demo was very